Welcome to the SheBreathes Soul Stories podcast. I am your host, Jen Gulbrand. This podcast and the SheBreathes Soul Stories book was born from a simple truth, that our stories heals. Here we explore the moments that break us, rebuild us, and ultimately define our strength. Through those stories, we uncover the beauty within the process of becoming who we really are today. I am so delighted to be in the virtual studio with Patti Mesite. Patti is the owner of the Beauty Boost Boston, a community for women to feel healthy, empowered, and beautiful. And I have to say, Patti celebrated her launch event at the We Breathe Wellness Studio just last night. And it was such an uplifting, energetic night of community and connection. So I'm so honored to have you here today. Welcome, Patti.
Thank you, Jen. I'm so honored to be a part of your podcast and just so honored that you allowed us into your space. It was absolutely beautiful and a really, really amazing evening. So thank
It
you.
was. And it's your space too, because you're part
Yeah.
of the collective.
Yes, I know.
But
How exciting.
but it was like your big launch event. So it was really it was so much fun. So
It was great.
Patti, I would love for you to share with our listeners kind of your story of becoming.
Sure. Yeah, I would love to. It's actually funny, not funny, but I was reflecting a little bit last night on how the whole night went and everything. And I was looking back in my journal and some of the things that I had in my journal that I was manifesting were coming to life last night. And one of them was sharing my story. I had like quadrants in my journal that was talking about being able to share my story. So here I am last
Here
night
you
and
are.
here I am today. So it's all sort of manifesting into reality. But
I
my
love that.
story, well, it I about 5 years ago, I got divorced. And in the moment it felt like, it was hard. It was
Mm.
extremely difficult, but it felt like you were just doing what you were doing. We've made the decision. It was difficult. I've moved out. I've moved on. I'm getting my new house. I am moving on with my kids. We're just living our lives and we're just getting back into the groove of what is going to be our new normal. And honestly, it felt like I was checking all the boxes and I was doing everything the way that I should be doing. Um, my kids are amazing. I have an unbelievable support from my family. I have great friends. I was lucky enough to find an amazing partner shortly after COVID. And so all of the things were happening the way that on paper they should be happening. And yet I still felt this void and I
Mm.
couldn't quite figure out what the void was. I also had a great job. Um, and I just didn't quite know what was missing. So I decided to do a lot of self reflection and I lead my team at work, which I work for Converse, and we always talk about growth mindset. It's how we approach everything. So I decided to do that for myself in my personal life and I invested in myself and the help of a coach. Her practice focuses on energetic weight loss. So putting things into place that give you the tools to reduce your stress and cortisol levels and manage your nervous system. So regulating your nervous system was a big part of the healing work that I did or am doing because it's an ongoing practice. This is not a I can close the door and be done.
No,
But
doesn't work that way.
no, it really doesn't. And actually,
Yeah.
I think once you start to do it, you don't realize how much more you have
Mm.
to do or want to do. And I think that's the key there is like, it's not so much about doing it because you need to do it. Once you start doing it, you're like, I want to do this because you start to see how
Yes.
magical things become when you actually put the work in on yourself.
So true.
So I did. So that's what I did. I started with a 6-month container, um, focused on healing my nervous system. And I was hyper focused on reducing stress. And I felt like I was just like on a hamster wheel all the time. And I couldn't get off it at that point. And I slowly started to put some of the tools that I was learning into practice. I became a much better communicator, specifically with my ex. We had a hard time communicating with one another. I had a hard time letting go of things that I had been used to managing all the time, like even down to what are the kids eating for dinner?
Right.
And or if I would normally respond to an email from the school or the tutor or a friend mom who's inviting one of our children over to go for a play date, I'm like on it. And he operates differently than I do. And I always did it. So I wanted to do that. And I was like, oh, we need to respond right away. So I worked a lot on focusing on what I could control and what was no longer within my control when we were not together.
Right.
And over time, I realized that the things I was learning, were working. And I started to see that, okay, like, all right, that weight on your shoulders, that energetic weight that she had spoken about just started to lift a little bit. Was it gone completely? No. Do I have bad days?
Of
Sure.
course.
But it started to lift. And once it started to lift, I started to then again lean into, okay, I see what's happening. I see progress. Something's still kind of missing. And so I just continued to lean into what was missing. And I started to say no to things that felt that they weren't authentic to me. Yes to things that I felt like I was more in alignment with, both professionally and in my personal life. And over time, as the universe does, it works in such magical ways that if you really listen to what's happening, lean into what's happening, focus on what's around you, you realize that the universe is actually presenting you with the opportunities that you've been manifesting the whole time.
So great.
And it's what you do with them. It's how
Yeah.
you lean into them. So as I started to do that, I realized I was looking for something more, specifically around a community. I think getting divorced is hard. It's so
It's
hard.
lonely.
It's
Yeah.
lonely. And even it's lonely even when you have the support of amazing family, amazing friends. You saw some of my friends there last night. These are friends that I've had for 25 years that
Yeah.
drove well over an hour to get to be there to support me. And the loving support of my partner. And he's great too. And we have an amazing relationship, but there was still just that piece that was missing. So I started I continued to lean into the signs and realized I was missing a little bit of community. And I also felt that I had a story to tell. And I was trying to figure out how to connect those two pieces together, being part of a community of like-minded women that were hustlers at work, hustlers at home, but really still like to have fun. And we're supportive of one another, encouraging, inspiring. And I just kept dipping my toes into little things that presented me with opportunities to be around women like that. And
Yeah.
through my coaching or through the work that I had done on myself with my coaches, I stumbled on the Beauty Boost. And I started asking questions of my coach who owns the Philadelphia branch of the Beauty Boost, which it's a community that is it's actually in 30 cities nationwide. So I started to do a little research. I was seeing all these fun posts of amazing events that were happening in the Philadelphia area because that is where my coach is based out of. And I said to her, I said, Colleen, what are you doing? What's this new project that you're working on? And she said, oh, it's a women's community. And we plan events that are focused on empowerment. We do fitness events, wellness events. There's really fun socials. I said, I need to know more about this. This sounds awesome. And we talked a little bit more about it. And I realized that it was not in Boston. And they were looking for the right fit to have someone lead Boston. So I put my name in, tossed my name in, went through the interview process. And a couple months later, I was able to secure the Boston territory as the owner of the beauty booths in the Boston area. And it has been a bit of a whirlwind since, because just jumping right in, but it has been really exciting. I think I guess it wasn't unexpected, but even more inspirational than I thought it was going to be. Getting to meet and exchange stories with people like yourself and some of the other amazing people that were there last night, just hearing the stories and the conversations that we're having leading up to these events, learning about how your story came to be, or how our photographer Kathleen's story came to be, and the many other women that were there last night. Everybody's got this amazing story, yet at the core of it, we're all just searching for this like sense of community, sense of being. And we really do, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like that because we are on the hamster wheel. I truly believe that we all want to inspire one another to greatness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what this is all about, right? We keep so much inside of our lives, and I'm not even sure why we do that. I think
Yeah.
because we're sort of told and programmed to do that. But when we start to release and share, we realize how many commonalities there really are among us, and how our stories would resonate with one another, right? And how
Yeah.
it heals just about everyone. It promotes compassion, it promotes empathy and community and connection and all the things that we need more of. So I love this. I love that you found this space for yourself where you could meet your own needs, but also be helping so many other people in the process. So that's what this work is
Yeah.
all about.
And
Yeah.
it's because when we first met and I had approached you about using your studio for the first event, um I think you could probably tell that as we started talking, I was very open to leaning into new opportunities and different things. It's exactly why I decided to join you on a
Right.
retreat to the Azores, because it just felt like this was the next natural progression as I continue to do work on myself.
Yeah.
How amazing it is to have the opportunity to just step away from everything for a minute and just really focus on you.
On yourself, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. And it's so foreign to us as women to do that. But when we do it, like you said, everything just starts to shift
it does.
and manifest. And to your point, you can manifest, but then you have to take aligned action to actually move yourself into that next phase.
Yeah.
So it's very
Yeah.
exciting. And I'm really happy that you're sharing your story, not only here today, but as part of the work that you're doing. I'd love to ask, how do you feel this act of revealing this story? Because there's a lot of personal
Mm.
things that you're sharing, is going to contribute to your own self sense of empowerment. Because I think that's so important for people to
Yes.
understand.
I think it's funny. I think I also shared with you when we first met that when you were telling me how you had written a couple of books and you were an author, and I was really inspired by that. And I think I mentioned, yeah, I have like three half little things
Yeah.
written somewhere down, but I'm not quite ready to share that story.
Of
But like
course.
I always think about my working title as like the funny thing about confidence. And
Yes.
I most people who meet me would think that I'm an extremely confident person because I've just been programmed to do it. Like
Right. You
and
just did.
that doesn't necessarily mean confidence. The two,
Right.
like, yes, they can present themselves that way, but it isn't actually the same thing. So for
Exactly.
me, when I think about telling my story, I think about it as this opportunity to build confidence in myself, because it's like you're finally getting up the nerve, if you will, to just
Yeah.
say, excuse me, but like, I don't give a crap what other people think. Like, this is my truth and
Yeah.
I'm okay with my truth. And I think that's a piece of it. The other piece of it, and I'm still working on this, really working on this piece, but is really self-compassion.
Mm,
And I don't think that I have had enough self-compassion for myself.
mm,
It's very easy to I don't want to say put yourself down, but just not give yourself enough credit for the things that you are doing well and only focus on the things that
Mm,
maybe you're not doing well or you wish you had done differently. It's
it's
extremely
so true.
difficult to accept your role in
Yeah.
maybe the demise of a marriage, for example, this massive
Right.
thing that happens that you sign up for, you don't sign up, but you
Yeah.
say and you believe that you're going to go into this and it is going
Yeah.
to be forever. And then all of a sudden it isn't forever. And
Right.
you play a huge role in it.
Yeah.
And
And you feel all the feelings, the
yeah,
guilt, the shame, the
yeah,
limiting beliefs that start to resurface. So I know we talked about this a lot
yeah,
during our retreat, that self-compassion piece. It's where everything starts and stops. And it's just it's so very important. And that message is one that we talk about a lot on the show and in the work that I do, for us to dig deep enough to get to the core of some of that subconscious programming,
yeah,
and question it, turn it upside down and reclaim your story. And that's what you're doing each and every day. That's what women need to hear, that,
yeah,
we all have this stuff that we carry, the energetic debris, right? The weight
yeah,
loss. We all
yeah,
have it. We all have it. And if we can look at it with love and self-compassion and unravel it and rewrite it, that's when we start to feel that sense of empowerment and that sense of self again. And that's what's missing. When we all
yeah.
feel like what's missing, it's being, more true to ourself, embodying our essence. It's so important, right?
It really is. And I think through the work that I've been doing, a couple of things that I've learned that I try to put into practice is someone said to me, it takes 6 positive thoughts to neutralize 1 negative thought.
Yeah.
And you have so many, like I don't remember what the number is, but hundreds and hundreds of negative thoughts that run through your subconscious mind every single day. So
And repeat,
on
repeat,
repeat,
repeat.
yes.
Yeah.
So as you start to build self-compassion for yourself, I think we are also programmed to say, I worked on this, I checked it off, it's time to move on to the next thing. This is not necessarily an area where you can check a box and say you've finished the work, because as your life progresses, you
Everything
have
shifts.
different moments that need different levels of self-compassion. So even if you've moved through the trauma of something in your past that you needed to forgive yourself for, whatever, forgive yourself, forgive the other person, forgive multiple people, whatever it
Mm,
may be, and you feel self-compassion for that moment, the universe is going to present you with something else. Because if you are a human that wants to continue to grow,
right.
you are going to be faced with new challenges that are going to require you to give yourself self-compassion.
Absolutely. It is a full-time inside job.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
even the simple little things. Last night, I went to the event, and my children are old enough to stay home by themselves, but they DoorDash dinner. And there was a moment where I was like, oh, okay, like I put myself first last night, but they were fine. They were
They
fine.
were
And
fine.
that little act of just giving yourself self-compassion for tonight's a night that it's okay that I'm not cooking dinner. Those little things
Absolutely.
need to happen too.
It's so important. It's such an important message. Thank you for
Mm,
doing that. And to your point, this is an ongoing practice like anything, right? Meditation, yoga, self-compassion, all of these things. It's some days are going to go better than others, to your point. And
yeah.
being okay with that is 50% of the work,
And
right?
that's the hard part, is being
Yeah.
okay with it. Um,
Yeah.
and learning to be okay with all the little things that come along with it. And I think
Mm,
there's once you learn why you're stressed, or once you learn to understand the signals of what stresses you out, you can start to get things into place that ease the tension. And then you start to
yeah.
say, I can let go of this, or maybe I can't
Right.
let go of this. Yeah.
Or what can I do when I start to feel like this? I know we talked about that at the
Yes.
in the resilience talk last night, because it's different for all of us. You know what lights us up, what fills us up versus what depletes us. Those are going to be different things for everybody, for sure. But
Yes.
yeah,
One of the
but
things, oh, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
no, please,
No,
you go.
I was going to say one of the things that I have put into practice since going on the retreat with you, I absolutely loved the little inspirational affirmation cards that were
Mm,
placed all around the retreat, whether they were in our room at night when we came back from dinner or at each of our meals. And so I have pulled out your affirmation cards that you had
wonderful.
gifted me when we first met. And I have them now by my door in the front door by the credenza at the front door. And I
Love
am
that.
shuffling them every morning and pulling one card every morning.
It's great.
And even if I don't have time to do some of the breath work or some of the tools that, as you're racing out the door to get your kids, that is a 10-second thing. And I will
Right.
say over the last week and a half since we've been home has really set the tone for the day. And I actually
I love that.
am looking I look at it yesterday. My card was, you are soulful and passionate.
Mm.
And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Like
I am.
that's how the day went. When I looked at it, when I returned to the house, because I leave it up. And when I
Yeah.
returned from the day, I was like, oh, the day did kind of go that way.
Yeah. It's so great. You're right. It sets the tone for the day. It's beautiful. I'm so glad that you're enjoying them. And
Yeah,
you see how something so simple, such a simple little practice that you can build into your day can change everything. It can shift everything.
it really can.
Mindset is a big
That's
deal.
what it is. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, I love it. Gosh, we
Yes,
could talk forever, but I
I
know
know.
that you're about to go on a trip, and so I just wanted to ask one final thing, and then I want to talk a little bit about your upcoming event.
Sure.
And that is, what would you say to other women who have a story and that's theirs, that they're really like wanting to share, but are feel a little fear around that, right? Because it's hard to
Mhm.
share the vulnerable parts of ourselves, especially why? Because we worry about how it will be received by
Yeah.
everyone else. But what kind of advice would you give to them?
I think my advice would be, don't be afraid. And that sounds simple, but
Yeah,
it is so empowering to just start. And you can start simple. Start
yeah,
sharing your story with one person
exactly.
and then
A close
a
friend or
close
a
friend.
coach or a therapist. Yeah,
And once you are able to share your story with one person, the words have already come out of your mouth.
yeah,
And then that one person might turn into two people, or that one story about the one moment that was just a small piece of your story turns into the second moment that is the bigger piece of your story. And you slowly start to share all the moments that brought you to where you are tonight, or today, excuse me.
right.
I had the opportunity of meeting one woman last night at the event who came up to me after, and we actually have a very similar story. And she said, I was so inspired by what you said. I loved hearing Jen speak about the tools for stress management. I am in a particular situation that seems very similar to yours. And we started
Mm.
talking. And I don't think she has shared her story openly in the way that maybe I'm a year ahead of her. Let's just call it that.
Right.
I'm about 12 months ahead of where she is right now.
Yeah.
And I think what we don't realize when we share our story is how much it is actually helping someone else, and
Oh, so
how
true.
amazing it is to just have one person
Get
feel
it.
differently, feel better,
Mm,
feel inspired,
mm.
just have a smile on their face that maybe didn't have a smile on their face before, because
Yeah.
you had the courage to share something vulnerable about yourself.
It's so true. It's such a catalyst for that empathy, that compassion, that connection, which again, the world needs more, so much
We
more of
really
that.
do. We really do.
And yeah, I love it. And that's what this whole movement is about, because and it's also about creating a safe container for people to feel like it's okay to reveal some of this, stuff with one another. So that might be with one other person or in a group setting or at a retreat or whatever it is. But to
Yes.
create that safe container where people are like, see it as a something that they're ready to do, right? Because you don't want to push this. It's
No, and I think that was the beauty of the retreat that we had just gone on, was even myself in that moment, who I've been openly sharing my story for a while now. I mean, not in this broad forum
right
on a podcast, but
until today.
until today, but I have shared my story. But
Yeah,
even in that moment, I still felt a little bit reserved about
of
sharing certain.
course. It's
And
very normal.
I did share my story individually with almost everybody that was there, but I wasn't always the most vocal person in the circles that we had in the morning. And I still think that's okay.
It's totally okay.
I and I think that that is the safe space that you're talking about. The
Mm.
container creates that safe space to come and share what you want to share, or just come and listen. And
Yeah.
sometimes for some people, just being able to listen to other people's stories is actually enough for them
Mm.
to feel inspired to change a habit, change a direction,
Yeah.
change a mindset.
It can be very
And
healing.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's beautiful.
yeah.
I love that you added that because it's got to be comfortable for the person and the setting has to be comfortable. So thank you
Well, the
for
setting was
that.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. So how can you tell everybody about this next event that you're planning in May? Because it's going to be so much fun.
Yes, this one. So the beauty of the beauty boost is that we're not one note. So,
Right.
and not every event is going to be the same event, which I think creates a lot of opportunities for
Mm.
many, many women to join in, because we don't all love the same things. Like what one
Right.
person loves, the next person may find it's not for me.
Right.
So this event is a little different than the first event that we had last night. I've been saying it's a high vibe event. It's
Yeah.
back-to-back mini workouts from some of our amazing women that teach at local studios or own local studios. So we're going to start with a Pilates class. We are going to have Ashley, who's part of our collective here at We Breathe. She is going to teach a high intensity, her own format class, but she teaches at some really local, amazing studios like Bespoke and Drip House. We have Pure Bar coming to teach a bar class. And we're going to round that out with some stretching, and then sound bath that you are going to lead for us, which after last night's sound bath, I am very excited for that piece of it.
And it's all outside, weather permitting.
Weather permitting, yes, we will have weather permitting. We will be outside in the sunshine. And to complement all of that, we have some amazing local businesses coming. Chill Juice Bar will be there. We have Strawberry Studios, that it's an aesthetic studio that's opening in May. She's going to come and do some little mini facial treatments. We have another intuitive. We have someone who's an intuitive nutritionist, and
Love it.
some skincare, and just some really fun. We have some pop-up shopping, permanent
Love it.
jewelry. So really fun experience stations from local businesses. And the intention is take all the workouts or take one of the workouts, but it's just
Yeah.
the opportunity again to come out, be inspired, meet like-minded women, get a little movement on a Sunday morning, and just have some fun.
I love it. I'm so looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
it's great.
So, Patty, how can people get in touch with you to learn about all the fabulous things that you're offering?
Great question. So the easiest way to get in touch would be to sign up as a follower for the Beauty Boost Boston on Instagram. That is our main form of communication. You can
Okay.
also reach me at the Beauty Boost Boston at gmail.com. And we also have our beautyboost.net/Boston, where you can find more
Okay.
information about all of the upcoming events. I'm usually posting them all on Instagram as well, but that gives you some more information. You also get an opportunity when you go to our website to see some of the brands that we've partnered with, and they're on our favorite brands page. All the Boston partners are on there, and they're offering some amazing free, not free, but amazing discount on
Services. Yeah.
services, excuse me. So it's really exciting that we're building out all these amazing partnerships with local businesses. And again, like I said, I'm inspired not only by the women who are attending these events, but the women who are participating as partners. Their stories are amazing.
That's so great. I'm really looking forward to seeing what unfolds.
Yeah.
This has been such a beautiful conversation. You're so radiant. You have so much courage and clarity and commitment to what you're doing. I'm so grateful for you showing up today with just authenticity and heart. For our listeners, if Patti's stories resonated with you in the way that I know it will, I hope that it reminded you of your own inner power and your ability to reclaim your voice no matter where you are on your journey. And if you have a story inside of you, one that's been waiting to be shared, I want to hear it. The SheBreathes Soul Stories podcast is created to hold space for real women with real stories. And your journey matters. Your voice matters. And when you share your story, it's going to create ripples of healing out into the world. So if you're feeling called to be a guest on the show, please reach out to me, jen@jengulbrand.com, and let's start a conversation. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Patti, for being here today. I hope everyone just keeps a positive outlook on the future and stay focused on making choices that support you first and foremost.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. Until next time, with love, Jen.